Back at it again with the Moby chapter 98, Stowing Down and Clearing Up. So this chapter kind of brings a close to the process that has been described for many chapters about the processing of the captured whale. And I'm only going to look at one passage in the chapter, which is rather short, in order to highlight Melville's, I think, poignant, emotional comment on the cyclical nature of life. It comes at the end of the chapter when it describes the amount of work that goes into catching a whale, when it says, "Yes, and many is the time when after the severest uninterrupted labors, which know no night, continuing straight through for 96 hours, when from the boat where they have swelled their wrists with all day rowing on the line, they only step to the deck to carry vast chains and heave the heavy windlass and cut and slash, yea, and in their very sweatings to be smoked and burned anew by the combined fires of the equatorial sun and the equatorial triworks, when on the heel of all of this, they have finally bestirred themselves to cleanse the ship, and make a spotless dairy room of it, many is the time the poor fellows, just buttoning the necks of their clean frocks, are startled by the cry of "Thar she blows," and away they fly to fight another whale and go through the whole weary thing again. So obviously, the metaphor here is about the repetitiousness of many aspects of life. Life is full of cycles, going to sleep, waking up the next day, doing your math homework one day, going to sleep, doing it again the next day. And that's just what it is. And Melville espouses a kind of sympathy, a kind of understanding for how difficult psychologically this can be. When he says, "Oh, my friends, but this is man killing. It kills you to have to do stuff over and over and over again." But he also says, "Yet this is life. For hardly have we mortals, by long toilings, extracted from this world's vast bulk its small but valuable sperm. And then, so living life is catching a whale, and then with weary patience cleansed ourselves from its defilements. So we've gotten through life, we've gotten rid of all the bad stuff, and we've learned to live here in the clean tabernacle of the soul. We've learned to understand life, to find peace. Hardly is this done when there she blows, the ghost is spouted up, and again we sail to fight some other world and go through young life's old routine again." So, once you get used to life and you grow powerful and wise, then, you've got another stage to go enter into. And this is a reference to a metaphysical theory that was somewhat interestingly popular in the 19th century and early 20th century called metempsychosis, which is the supposed transmigration at death of the soul of the human being into a new body of the same or different species, so just reincarnation. And Melville imagines reincarnation being true by imagining the reincarnation of Pythagoras, the famous Greek mathematician, right? Obviously, the Pythagorean theorem. That in bright Greece 2,000 years ago did die, so good, so wise, so mild, I sailed with him along the Peruvian coast last voyage, and foolish as I am, taught thee, a green, simple boy, how to splice a rope. So I think this is a somewhat optimistic, positive vision of the cycle of life and spiritual rebirth that Melville is entertaining here, that perhaps the rhythms and cycles of life are matched by a rhythm and cycle of metaphysical life. Which matches, various metaphysical and religious spiritual traditions of, say, Hinduism, Buddhism, etc., etc. And it forces us to ask ourselves, what do we think happens after all these cycles of life come to their natural conclusion? Melville has espoused in many different places in the book many different comparative religions, and here we have a little bit of a treatment of a cyclical understanding of life and death, which is different than the Christian tradition or Abrahamic traditions in general. But it's an interesting image of, teaching Pythagoras on a ship. All right. That's it for this chapter, and I'll see you in the next one.